WRPB and WRPB Studios. You know, times constantly change, and they make it more and more difficult to work and do business, to live, to do all the things we need to do, and yet we seem to find our way around and make it. And there's some industries that are like super, super necessary, and they will outlive everything that most of us do. With me is Francois and Steve, and you're with Highland Homes Roofing.
Correct.
That's right.
Got it right? I have to get it out in the beginning because I'm
That's
old.
all right.
Okay, the roofing industry is never going to go away.
Unfortunately, as long as they keep building, it won't.
Well, and we also live in the hurricane capital of the world. So
Exactly.
there are different kinds of roofs, and this is a question that I have to ask. What is this, I guess, the longest lasting type of roof?
In our industry, metal is the longest lasting roof there is as far as a residential home is concerned.
Right.
Shingles, we used to get 15, 20 years, maybe a little bit more than that, but because of the insurance game right now, they're making folks change it out. It's gotten down to where 15 to 16, 17 years. But for the most part, the metal right now, we have one that's 32 years old that we've installed. We haven't changed it yet.
A metal?
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's been around a long time then.
Oh yeah.
Now, how long have you been around?
Our company's been here for 37 years, going on 38, and I've been with the company since 99.
How long are you doing it?
I've been with
Same.
Highland for a little over 5 years, but in the industry for about 15, 16
Really?
years. Mm-hmm.
When'd you start? Like when you were 2?
Yeah, right, right out of high school. Yeah.
Did you?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Okay, so you now doing roofs. Why did you pick roofs? Why did you pick roofing, Steve?
I did on accident, actually.
Yeah,
It was a
You're
a
not
summer
the first
job.
one that said it.
Yeah.
That is by accident.
It was a job to start saving up money for college, and it was something I just kind of was natural at and took to and kind of enjoyed and stuck with.
Why'd you just start doing it?
It started out when I started in Sebastian. The guy pulled up in his truck. His name was Scott Silva, and he owned the business at the time, and he started it. And we met right away and got on the right page right away and really enjoyed hanging out with each other. And he said, you know what, why don't you come work for me? So I was building homes at the time, and then he became my qualifier, and the rest is history. So we stayed together for many, many years before he passed away.
So, I'm going to say this. Do you guys consider it dangerous work?
Oh yeah, I mean it's not easy to get up there.
Yeah, Steven doesn't think
He doesn't.
I don't.
I'm in my 50s.
I get
It's
how you
dangerous
see
work.
it because I'm in my 60s, so I get it. He's
I'm still at a point where I think things aren't going to happen to me.
right.
So I'm not
He's
super
invincible.
worried about it.
He's invincible. I'm just
I'm
pointing
past
that.
that.
Yeah, we know that we only have a certain amount of time, and we're going to make sure that we're okay during that time.
Exactly.
All right. So, like, who's your clientele? Do you do?
Majority of the work right now, probably about 85% to 90% of our work is re-roofs. We do work with special contractors that are custom. They really want to have a certain type of product on the roof. And then we've recently, I'd say in the last 4 years, we've gotten into developments and re-roofing developments. And right now we're hopefully going to start our third one here shortly, but we've just finished a place called Pelican Point, and the year before that we did Grace's Landings, and they both came out amazing.
So, I know very little, but I do know, or I believe I know, that how the roof is secured to the rest of the home has changed over the last couple of years, and the amount of, I'm going to use the word strapping, or how it's.
Shingles wise, so you're talking about when a roof is, if you have a framed house and you need strapping, that's what we do that at that same time. But right now, shingles, that really hasn't changed much with shingle applications. They've added another nail in the last 10 years, but
Right.
for the most part, that's stayed the same. And then the peel and stick, we've decided as a company to always use peel and stick no matter what. So it's part of the policy. There are companies out there, or there are builders out there that want to use the felt paper or synthetic, and we just decided to keep that barrier, that underlayment barrier right there for a secondary barrier, and it works out quite well.
So, someone has a home. They have, of course, a leak in their roof because that's what happens. You go. I guess there's different phases within it. Meaning, the shingles can be bad. The wood can be bad too.
Yeah, in some cases.
Okay, I mean, does that happen a lot that the wood is bad?
Not that much. A lot of times because we're replacing them so frequently due to insurance, like
Right.
there's not enough time for leaks to kind of fester almost. I want to
Oh,
say and
that
start to
makes
rot
sense.
away at the wood.
What
So we-
about what about animals like squirrels and stuff?
Yeah, we do have some scenarios where they'll break into the soffit area, especially after we've come in and done a re-roof. But sometimes with the metal, they can't really get a lot of traction on there. But the squirrels can, but the raccoons have a little bit of trouble. But they just kind of push up in the soffit and get up there. But we try to get them out, or they have the pest controls come out and get them out of there before we finish up.
Okay, so this would be still, of course, on my mind. Metal roof. It's probably more noisy than a shingle roof.
You would think, but with the insulation these days,
yeah,
and
it's not really a factor, but that's one of the most common questions we get about it.
Well, the next most common question has got to be, am I going to have poor cell service? Cause,
Yeah, that's-
'cause that's going
That's
to
another
be
one.
a question that people are going to ask.
So it all depends on your service, to be honest. I'll give you a quick example. My son decided he wanted to move to Apple. We all had Android.
You still have Android?
No. We moved to Apple. So he moved to Apple, and he was the only one that had cell service in our house after we had a metal roof. So we had to all change, and we all have it. Great. So I guess it depends on your carrier, where you're located, and how good your cell service is prior to getting the metal roof. And then the other good tip that you utilize is you turn on Wi-Fi calling all the time for your phone so it doesn't drain your battery. It's just whenever you walk into your house, it'll automatically put it on there for you, and then you should have no problem with cell service.
Even for a lazy person like me that doesn't use wireless. My wife goes on Wi-Fi all the time. I mean, like, yeah, well, you know what? I have a charging cord over here in the living room, in the bedroom, in my office. So I just plug it as a charger constantly because today is different than when the industry came about. You're not paying for the minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So you just use it. She switches automatically. She switches. That's her thing. Me, I'm just too lazy because then I leave, I come back, and I know Bluetooth kind of drains your battery also. But I'm an Android user. I don't know if I'll ever change. First of all, I'm old, so I don't want to learn anything new.
It is a struggle.
It's a transition.
It is absolutely a transition.
Okay, so I know that they make, and I'm probably going to say the wrong word because again, they make the barrel tiles.
They make barrel tile, yeah. They make that in metal now too.
Yeah.
But going back to the old-fashioned barrel tile, that's really not the roof, right? Because
It's the underlayment and everything underneath. Yeah.
that's really the
Those
roof,
ones are designed for water to flow underneath and
right?
kind of come out at the end.
More expensive
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
for a look.
For a look and a weight.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't realize all facets of roofing, especially with shingles, the granules that are on top are act as a color, but are also there to protect the how do you want to tell it? The petroleum-based product that's underneath it that's keeping it together, but it's also for weight. It keeps the shingle heavy. That's what the granules do.
Why? You know, I'm in my industry. I know what I charge and whatever. But why are roofs so expensive? Is the danger? Is the product? Is it
Material, insurance, workman's comp, all that.
The workman's comp and liability is probably your biggest expense as a roofer right now. There are companies out there that they have a loophole that they can pay a certain amount a year, and they can just pay their guys with checks, however they want to do it. But those are a lot of sleepless nights. For us as a company, we've decided to go, straight by the book, which is very difficult because you got to make sure everybody's legal and citizens, and you have, I have a different ethnicity. How do you say it?
Ethnicity.
Yeah, that one.
Good thing you brought him along.
Yeah. That's my French coming out. Groups that work for us, but it took a long time for us to find all the right people to be part of our team to make sure that we can do it by the book.
You know, I say it, and I've said it millions of times on tons of my shows. Okay, always use a professional. If you don't, it's going to end up costing you 5 times more and 10 times more in aggravation. I know that from watching or looking at roofs, that some have got to be really kind of difficult. The pitches are really, really steep. Like, is a flat roof going to be much easier to do? I know it's much safer, right?
It depends. If it needs ISO, which is an insulated board that gives you pitch on a flat roof, that's what you really want to put on there to allow the water to drain off of there and not settle or pool up.
Right.
But yeah, pitching is always a pitch a roof is always at risk. You could be at a 412 and still fall off a roof and slip.
What's 412?
412. Basically, every foot it rises 4 inches.
Okay. Well, we're here to learn, so that's why I bring on people that have a little more experience than me. All right. So, what is the roof and that you hate to do?
I don't know if I really have one. Something that's really steep, but outside of that,
Yeah, the steeper the roof is not our favorite.
Yeah.
But for the most part, any roof, I like challenging ones. I like ones that want to be creative.
I
To
mean,
me,
not like one pitch this side, one pitch that side, and done.
no,
This
those are
guy-
the easiest.
Yeah,
Those
right.
are gravy. You know, we call that in the industry, it's a gravy roof. But for the most part, when you have a lot of different profiles and looks and pitches, it makes it for a good looking roof.
So, because like besides the properties that I own one mobile home,
Mhm.
and they're kind of low. They're not really high and stuff, and the roofs are barely pitch. I mean, there are some pitch. Are, do they come out to be less expensive to do because they're really just one shot this way, one shot that way, and it's
At
fairly
times.
flat?
yeah,
At
they
times.
can be.
You know,
A lot easier.
do when you look at a roof, do you look at replacing the whole roof or repairing what's bad?
It depends on the time, right?
Yeah, it
The
depends on how
age.
old it is.
There's no point in repairing. If you get up to 25% of a roof change, the county or the city is going to make you change it anyways. So you tend to look at that avenue first to make sure you don't exceed that. And if you don't, then do the repair. Save some money until you're ready. But if it's something that's going to have to be done a certain amount that's over 25%, might as well get it done instead of repairing it.
Or if you're getting to that point where it's like 15, 16 years old, it's just wasting money when you're going to have to replace it in a year or two anyway.
Do you see changes coming in the future?
Not really.
I mean,
There's going to be some insurance driven
Yeah,
changes.
right,
but
That's
yeah.
that's about it.
the insurance companies.
We're hoping.
Okay, you're hoping.
I think I would hope that these insurance companies stop forcing people to do these items, to force them to change the roof at a certain time for these high rates. I mean, we're going through it as homeowners.
Yeah.
So,
Right, and you know we see that as consumers because you're a consumer as well as you are a provider. I mean, I've heard that some insurance companies want you to change a shingled roof in 10 years.
I've
yeah,
been hearing
there was-
that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, now that's kind of ridiculous because when you really think about the whole scenario, you got an air conditioner that's going to last approximately 10 to 12 years. Okay, you got appliances in your house that last 10 to 12 years. So basically, you're at a point almost that you might as well buy a new house. And if you're looking for real estate, you now have to take in consideration the roof.
Correct.
Right.
Okay,
We've
so
had to do a lot for sellers who can't sell the house because a buyer can't get a mortgage because
The
the roof is
roof.
too old and they won't get insured. So we've done a lot of that work too.
right, and I get it. So if I'm buying a house for 300,000, but it needs a roof, I need to have 20 grand. I'm not just picking a number on the
Yeah.
side.
Right.
Okay, so somewhere that 20 grand's got to be in that price because that's what I can afford for argument's sake. Are roofs financial? I mean, can you finance a roof?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, different. You can do it through your own bank. That's probably the easiest
That's
if you've
probably the easiest.
established. You know, you get better rates. But we have a company we utilize now that we have different programs that we can use.
Right.
12 months, same as cash, or it's just straight up 5 or 7 year loans. So it's very easy to do.
Okay, we're getting a tough hard time. How do people find you? You have a website
Yeah, HighlandHomesRoofing.com,
and a phone number.
772-388-1411.
Everybody, I said it a million times, always use a professional. It's not a DIY job. Trust me when I tell you. You don't want to get up on that roof if you're not experienced. You definitely don't want to chance it if the roof has a steep pitch. You don't even want to chance it if it's a flat roof. Use a professional. Francois, thank you for coming
Hey,
on.
thanks for having us.
Steve,
Thank you.
everybody, take care, and we'll be right back.